Renting in this country is such an absolute scam right now, and it's very unfortunate because it's the only option for a lot of people. Because back in the day, it was cheaper to buy a house, but nowadays, not only is the house market terrible, anything that's in your price range is a dump. Like the state that people leave their house in when they let people come in and tour them is just abysmal. Like, what are we doing? So, even though it is technically a little bit cheaper if you were to buy a house, that doesn't account for how much money you have to put down immediately for it to be cheaper. Because, yes, you will be paying less a month, but you better have about $10,000 to $15,000 in your savings account that you're willing to part with for all the closing costs, down payment, just a whole bunch of horse shit that you didn't think you needed to pay for that you do. Because here's what most people do. We move out of our parents' house. That's mistake number one. If you're able to stay with your parents, do it. Do it as long as you can, as long as your parents don't suck. If they're willing to let you live under their roof, take advantage of it. Trust me. Because life after you move out of your parents' house, you start noticing that it really kind of sucks. When 60 to 70% of your paycheck is just going straight to renting, you're going to regret, being annoyed with your parents because they didn't let you stay out past 11 p.m. Now, I've been renting for 4 or 5 years. I believe it's about 5. And my first place that I lived wasn't terrible. Rent was relatively cheap. The only utility we had to pay was electric, so it was pretty nice. But the problem with apartment life now is that you're almost guaranteed to have some sort of roommate to be able to afford living there. Because if you can find an apartment for less than $1,000 a month, it's probably in a place you don't really want to live. I lived at this place with my brother for about 2 years, and it was fine, but the problem is when you have a roommate, no matter who it is, you're going to have problems. Like, I love my brother, terrible roommate. It mostly just boiled down to him being a slob, and he kind of had the mindset of, I don't own this place, so why should I take care of it? And it's like, that's a terrible mindset to have because wherever you live is your home, so you should take care of it. But apartment life gets old pretty fast, regardless of if your roommate kind of sucks or not, because just having so many people around you at all times, you just never really feel that safe, even if it is like a nicer apartment. Because when you got people above you, people on the side of you, and it may be even people below you, you just kind of feel like you're in a box. And apartments are kind of like the in-between. You're like, well, I don't have a house yet, but this is like the step towards getting a house. But unfortunately, with rent being so crazy in most places, you're really not able to save much to be able to get a house to begin with. Because like I said earlier, it all is kind of based off of how much money you have to put down, which is a lot of money that a lot of people just don't have unless they have like an engineering degree or they work in a factory. Like, honestly, those are the only jobs right now worth getting. So obviously the price of rent itself is kind of the biggest scam in terms of renting, but there's other factors that contribute to it just absolutely sucking. Like pets, for example. If you want to have pets, they want you to pay an absurd amount of money that's non-refundable. It's usually $200 or $300, and they just keep it. Think about that. If you have 2 cats and you move into an apartment, they want you to give them $600. Just give it to them. And on top of that, they're going to charge you probably $30 to $50 pet rent each month, which I don't get that. Just if you want to take $600, fine, take it. Why are you charging me more money? Because I assume that money you're keeping for if and when the pets destroy the apartment. What do you need to collect more money for? And another thing that completely sucks ass is at any given moment, they can just email you or call you and be like, hey, tomorrow we're coming into your apartment. We're going to do an inspection. Talk about almost getting a heart attack, because when I lived in an apartment, right, with my brother, we had 4 cats. So it was either we both get our own apartment and split the cats up, which was impossible because neither one of us made enough money to do that, or we lie about it. Obviously, we chose to lie. So every single time they came over to do an inspection, we had to pull some trickery, which one of the times, thankfully this was in 2021, so COVID was still like a big issue. They came in to change like the filter on the furnace and to check the thermostats, or not the thermostats, the fire alarms. And I opened the door, right? Because I called off work. I always call off work when there's an inspection because I'm like, there's no way I'm letting somebody in my house without me being here. Even if I wasn't breaking the rules, it's still just kind of weird. So I opened the door, right? They're both wearing masks. And then I have the most high IQ idea or excuse to not let them in. I just told them I had COVID. And you know what they did? They gave me the filter and told me to check the fire alarms myself. And that was that. Honestly, that was one of my highest achievements in life. And of course, there was other inspections, but I usually just threw all the cats in a closet and, just had the TV on so they couldn't hear them meowing. But regardless, even if you're not breaking the rules, just having people come into your apartment is just wildly annoying, especially when you completely forget that there is an inspection. Like the one that we had here, this is a house that I'm currently renting. I completely spaced out. I didn't see the email that they were coming to do an inspection. So the house was a complete mess. Baby toys scattered all over the living room. It just, when you have kids, you just know that your house is never clean. Usually you need 24 hours notice just to clean your house. So that was a little embarrassing. We're not breaking rules here as far as I know, so I wasn't too worried about it. But still, just the fact that somebody's coming into your house at least once or twice a year, super annoying. And there's a lot of other little things that are just obnoxious with renting. But the worst part about renting is when you move from one rental to another, there's an overlap, right? So when you move into an apartment, they want you to put down a deposit, which is usually first month's rent. So say your rent's $1,500, right? You have to put in a deposit of $1,500, refundable money. You were never going to see it, by the way. But you put in the $1,500 just to hold the apartment. Then once you move in, you got to pay another $1,500. So that's $3,000 that you just spent, right? Don't forget about the last month's rent at your other apartment. So let's just say that rent's $1,500 too. There's going to be like a 2 to 3 week span where you're spending like $4,000 to $5,000 just because you're moving rentals. Yeah, talk about ass suckage. So if you're going to rent, you better find a place that you like, because don't ever move rentals. Even if you find a place that's cheaper, it better be significantly cheaper, because just be aware you're going to lose a ton of money when you move. And ideally, yeah, you will get back your deposit from the apartment that you're moving out of. Most places are going to do everything in their power to make sure you don't get that money back, at least not all of it. So if you're 18 or 19 years old right now, you're still living at your parents' house, you better be real nice to your parents and just milk that out as long as you can. Even if you have to stay until you're 25, there's no shame in that these days, honestly, because as soon as you move out, you're just going to be continuously living a life of having no money. Obviously, there is exceptions. Some people do get really good, high-paying jobs. But let's just assume that you don't have a trade and you don't work in a factory. But if you're still living at home, save all your money. Don't go spending your money on stupid nonsense. You can budget out some like fun money if you want to follow like the Dave Ramsey method, whatever. Save a little bit of money for you to do what you want with, but save the majority of it, because you don't want to move out of your parents' house assuming, oh, life's going to be all sunshine and rainbows, because it's not. It's hell. Okay. And it's even worse if you go to college and you get a degree that's useless, because almost every single job nowadays, they just want experience. They don't really give two farts if you have a degree. So your best bet is to just make as much money as you can when you live at home. Try to find a solid job that you can actually keep earning raises and stuff to build up to where you make more money. So that pretty much excludes restaurants and retail. So you can start off working those, but you're going to want to move up eventually. Trust me, that's pretty much all the jobs I've had are restaurants and retail, and they always have a cap to where you can't make more money. That's because they just want to keep cycling in high schoolers. They don't really want like adults working there. I feel like I'm getting a little off topic, but I'm just trying to spare anyone who's still living at home the pain of renting, because it sounds fun. It sounds like the normal thing to do. You're like, oh, I'm finally free from my parents. Yeah, but you're also free from their money because unless you have generous parents that are willing to pay for you to get the hell out of their house, you probably don't have parents like that. But don't be rushing out to the real world, because the real world sucks. It's brutal, and it doesn't seem to be getting any better. Yeah, that's my rant for today. But anyway, good luck to everyone. I hope you found something useful in this video. And yeah, I'll see you all in the next video.